ground, and by His stripes I'm healed. Power te whenua, power te whenua. Jesus was wounded.
Kia ora koutou katoa, ko rawiri rau tōku ingoa. The prophecy that you're about to hear came without warning, therefore it wasn't rehearsed. At the time, I had my dictaphone and I recorded it. Kia kaha. You remember when Ezekiel wanted to understand the nature of what I was doing. It was at that point that I took him into a valley that was full of bones, and I prophesied into his spirit at that point. But I located the man of God into the valley. It was at the valley of dry bones that I was depicting what would become true of the time that you have now entered into. The prophet Ezekiel, when he saw the valley of dry bones, he was in very deep despondency because he felt that there can be no hope. That same cry will be said of many in this last days. They'll look at the despair of what's happening before them and they'll say, there is no hope. Yet, even within that despairing time, I caused a wind to blow. The end did not in any way reflect its beginning. And always remind yourself of that. The end did not in any way reflect its beginning. Because the beginning was so negative, but the end was so positive. You will see the end being a lot more positive than what it started out to begin with. Albeit, you will see valleys of dry bones. And this is where you'll know the only answer for a valley of dry bones is the wind. When the early church came together and they met, they in many ways did emulate what it was like to be in a valley of dry bones. Albeit, at the point the wind blew, they radically changed and became an almighty army. And their end did not in any way reflect what was seen at the beginning. This promise of Ezekiel in the valley of dry bones is a promise I'm making for your country. New Zealand is about to go into a deep period of despair. And the despair will be at such a level that people will see no hope in which way to go. And it will be no different to what happened with the prophet Ezekiel when he looked and he felt there is no answer. Your nation is in identical position. But what I promise for New Zealand, I am going to blow. There is a wind that I'm going to cause to be blown in the country of Aotearoa, New Zealand. That will be no different to winds that I have blown in restoration throughout many generations. Whenever I have looked to restore, I have blown a wind. In that wind, there comes a gathering. In that wind, there comes a new worship. In that wind, there comes a new relationship. In that wind, I say, but it's in that wind. I'm now raising up a new voice within the country of Aotearoa, New Zealand. And within this voice will have the authority of the wind. You needn't be despondent thinking that there's no answer. There will always be an answer when there is wind. I have never ever allowed my people to go without an answer, and therefore I would always bring a wind. Even when the prophets used to speak within the Old Testament, their counsel, their prophecy contained a wind of promise. There is a new wind that I'm bringing to the nation of Aotearoa, New Zealand. Contained within it will be everything you need in order to begin to do a new thing. I am using Aotearoa, New Zealand as the basis of much I'm looking to do throughout the world. This nation, based on a voice bandwidth, will begin to understand me at a different level. Based on a voice bandwidth, there'll be a difference in the way you worship. And I'm saying in the way you worship, you will approach me in a different manner. You will understand the authority of frequency. You will begin to recognize that I am the Lord that healeth thee. You will no longer walk about feeling that there isn't an answer. And by the way, you'll not feel that you are inadequate, whereby as a country you have to become solely dependent on voices that are coming from overseas. In your nation, you have your own voice. In your nation, you have your own methodology. In your nation, you will have that. I make this by way of promise this day. The nation of Aotearoa, New Zealand will know a new way. I'm gifting to this country the ability to seek me in a new way. There will be many promises that I have made over many generations that will now be fulfilled. I'm now going to cause a gift in which you will seek me as a people. The Māori people are going to see a new beginning. There will be a breaking of the shackles of yesterday's mindsets, because some of the ways of thinking that have been synonymous with the Māori people will be broken, largely because I'm beginning to do a Davidic purpose that will actually influence the Māori people. From the Māori people, it is true, I have prophesied for many generations that I would do something amidst that people. And know this, that it won't be by might nor by power, but it will be by my Spirit, says the Lord. They will change not because of a compliance to man's ways, but because of a compliance to my ways. And it will be the Mauna of Mount Zion that they will see as their inheritance. They will once again seek me in a new way. From this nation, I'm beginning to do a new thing. From this nation, I'm beginning to speak forth. From this nation, I'm beginning to put in a new building block, and in which I'm going to establish the last days. The principle of what I'm doing within New Zealand, and not only within this country, but it is true internationally. I am now laying a foundation that will be identical to every promise that I made concerning the last days. When I spoke in my words that Noah, in his time, would become a benchmark. When I said that as it was in his days, let it be known this. In his days, Noah knew floods of judgment. In your days, you will know floods of my glory. And even as Noah built a vehicle that was able to pass through the deep, in your day, I am building a new vehicle. And in this vehicle, it will be able to pass through the deep. And even today, where they say it was impossible for Noah's vehicle to be able to contain all the animals, that's what your so-called experts say, because it didn't have steel reinforcement. Let it be known, am I not the God that made the heavens and the earth? Was I not able to place within Noah the witty invention concept of how to be an architect builder that could build a vessel that could hold all the animals? Will I not do like I did in Noah's day? Will I not build a vessel? A vessel? A vessel? A vessel? Will I not build a vessel in which my goodness will be revealed? Will I not build a vessel in which you'll be able to understand my will? The vessel that I'm building today, which will emulate what Noah did, was a vessel of my will. And by the way, I'll shut the door. Because when you go into my will, I shut the door. This is a strong word of edification for Aotearoa, New Zealand. I have sent my word via my bandwidth of my voice, that you may understand. You are going into perilous times, Aotearoa. You're going to see a shift now take place. Your politicians will be in want for answers. They'll not know which way to go. They'll speak in riddles because they don't know the answers. I'm purposely doing it because, as I did in the days of Joseph, where a dearth came, but I brought about a voice of wisdom. And that voice of wisdom came through my Joseph. Know this, there is another voice of wisdom, and it's coming through my Joseph today. I am bringing a new Joseph. You will not have to be concerned about which way to go, who to listen to. There are many voices that have gone out into the world, but my voice will be different from the voices that you hear. Because this voice will be a voice of authority. When Jesus was sent to this earth, he came as one speaking with authority. The voice of my day today will be a voice that will have authority. It will not be apologetic, and it will not come in a manner that you've ever seen before. I'm bringing a new voice. The beauty about this voice is it's full of my authority. And within my authority is found the power. Within my authority is found the kingdom. Within my authority is found the healing. Within my authority is found the deliverance. Within my authority, it's my voice. The bandwidth of my glory that created the heavens and the earth. That even your scientists are still trying within their riddles to understand. They speak in riddles when they talk about trying to understand how creation came to being. We laugh about it in heaven as we listen to the stupidity of man who seeks to understand things without the direction of my spirit. My voice is here today. You're hearing the beginning of the new beginning. You've entered into a new chapter, and let it be known, it is not by might nor by power, but it is by my spirit. You've entered into a new beginning. You need to each start confessing that. You need to stop thinking about what you can't do, start talking about what you can do. By the way, if I may say, I didn't rise on the third day for you to be defeated.
Jesus was wounded and bruised. He struck the ground, and by his stripes I'm healed. Power to Vendua. Power to Vendua.